The gavel cracked against the wooden desk. All eyes turned toward the teenager seated at the defense table, her hands folded neatly in front of her. She looked small in an oversized suit, her face calm, almost unsettlingly so for someone about to be dragged through public humiliation. Judge Mitchell gave her a quick once-over, his lips curling into a faint sneer. "Is this some kind of joke?" he muttered, just loud enough for the courtroom to hear. Adjusting his glasses, he glanced back at the girl and smirked. "You're telling me this is your lawyer?" Her name was Claire Dawson. No one in the legal world had ever heard it before. To everyone present, she was nothing more than another wide-eyed kid, hopelessly out of her depth among legal titans. They'd been waiting for hours, only for this girl to step forward and declare that she would be defending the accused in a major fraud case. The murmurs grew louder. Was this some prank? A cruel trick? Claire didn't even flinch. She met the judge's stare head-on, her expression unreadable, as though her mind were somewhere else entirely. She had been preparing for this moment her entire life. The question wasn't if she would win, it was how. And no one in that courtroom had the faintest idea of what she was capable of. The prosecutor, a veteran attorney with decades of experience, stood tall and confident. Her suit was sharp, her gaze even sharper as it swept over Claire. "This trial is not a game, young lady," she warned, her voice thick with disdain, but Claire's face betrayed nothing. She looked as if this wasn't even a trial at all, just casual conversation. What could possibly drive her to take on something like this? Why face impossible odds with no fear? The judge mocked her. The prosecutor sized her up with smug superiority. The clock ticked steadily toward the trial's critical moment. And yet Claire sat there, more composed than anyone else in the room. Would she collapse under the pressure? Or was there something hidden inside this unassuming teenager that no one could yet see? Claire had never been like other kids. While her peers wasted weekends at the mall, gossiping over trends, she buried herself in libraries, tearing through case studies and legal theory. What began as an escape from her broken home, a single mother who had once been a promising lawyer before her career fell apart, had turned into an obsession. Claire watched her mother spiral deeper into self-doubt until she abandoned the profession altogether. But Claire swore she would never follow that path. She wouldn't fade into obscurity. Her mother's downfall had sparked her fire, but it was more than ambition. Claire knew, deep inside, that she wasn't just determined, she was brilliant. And no one else knew it yet. When the trial began in earnest, Claire stood at the defense table facing the prosecutor for the first time. She could feel the weight of the courtroom pressing down on her, dozens of eyes locked onto her every move. As the prosecutor delivered her opening statement, Claire's mind whirred, each fact, each weakness in the argument snapping into place. This was her chance. The trial was hers to lose. Then it happened. The judge, clearly fed up, slammed his gavel again. "Enough with these games," he barked, his voice booming. "If a real attorney doesn't step into this courtroom, I'll dismiss the case." Something inside Claire snapped. Her heart thundered, but her mind was crystal clear. It was now or never. She rose to her feet, startling the room, and strode forward. Without a word, she gestured for the prosecutor to sit down. Gripping the edge of the table, she fixed her eyes on Judge Mitchell. "Your Honor," she said, her voice calm, steady, commanding. "I am the attorney in this case, and I will prove that I am more than capable of defending my client." Silence fell. The courtroom froze in disbelief. To the professionals in the room, her confidence was absurd. The judge, the prosecutor, the other lawyers, they dismissed her with condescending glances, convinced this was nothing more than a desperate stunt. She was young. She was inexperienced. She didn't belong here, but Claire didn't need their belief. She only needed her own, and slowly, as the trial unfolded, her brilliance began to surface. With precision, she dismantled the prosecution's case piece by piece, exposing contradictions in the evidence that had gone unnoticed. She asked questions that left veteran attorneys fumbling for words. Bit by bit, the tide began to turn. But the trial wasn't the only battlefield. Claire could feel the unseen forces pressing against her. There were people who would stop at nothing to silence her. This was bigger than a single fraud case, and if she wasn't careful, she knew it could cost her everything. Then came the discovery. A hidden email buried deep beneath layers of misdirection. A message that tied the prosecutor directly to the corporation under fire. The entire trial now hung on Claire's next move. If she exposed it, the case would collapse. But it was dangerous. It would implicate the prosecutor herself. Once revealed, there was no turning back. Standing in the center of the courtroom, the damning evidence in her hand, Claire could feel the walls closing in. Her client was about to be sentenced. Her findings were being challenged. Chaos buzzed through the courtroom, and then the threat. A private warning aimed not at her, but at her mother. The people behind the fraud weren't just coming for Claire. They were coming for everything she loved. For the first time, doubt crept in. Had she gone too far? Was justice worth putting her family in danger? Still, she pressed forward. As the trial reached its climax, Claire stood before the jury, heart racing but mind sharp. "I'm not backing down," she declared, voice steady. "I'm going to show you the truth." One by one, she exposed the corruption, the deceit, the lies. She tore apart the prosecutor's case until there was nothing left. When the jury returned with the verdict, not guilty, the room exploded with shock. Claire had done it. She had won. Months later, in her small apartment, she sat watching the aftermath on the news. The prosecutor disbarred, the case a national scandal. Claire's name now synonymous with brilliance. But Claire knew the real victory wasn't in the headlines. It was in the quiet realization that she had stepped fully into her own power. She had done what no one thought possible. And for the first time, she was ready for whatever came next. As she looked out over the city, a quiet triumph washed over her. She had faced the impossible, shattered expectations, and proven that brilliance could emerge from the most unlikely places. And yet, her story was only beginning. What battles lay ahead? What cases would she take on in the chaotic world of law? The real question is, what do you think? Can anyone, no matter how young, take down giants? Or was this victory a once-in-a-lifetime miracle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more stories of courage, brilliance, and unexpected twists, don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next.